Welcome to the Customer Management IQ video interview series. I'm your host, Corey Bennett, and today we are on site at the 3rd Annual Customer Experience Summit in Miami Beach, Florida. And joining me right now is Michael Hoffman, author of Customer Worthy: Why and How Everyone in Your Organization Must Think Like a Customer. Michael just finished up his presentation, which was titled, How Much Is It Worth to Be a Customer Worthy in Every Interaction? A Roadmap to Visualizing and Monetizing Your Customer Experience. Aside from the long title, thanks for joining me, Michael.
Oh, great to be here. Thanks.
So start off and tell me a bit about part of your book. You introduced the concept of the CXC matrix. Can you explain a bit about that, what it is, and how it came about? How did you come up with this methodology?
Sure. Well, I guess my background, I've had the luxury of working with somewhere probably around 700 different companies over the past 20 years. And what I've done most recently was starting to work with companies on the customer service side. Okay. And my background is in marketing and database and management. And what I started to identify working with companies was that there was a certain pattern I could look at that would be predictable from company to company, and they were all trying to solve the same problem. How do we become more customer-centric? And I thought there should be some way to go and craft that, so I started researching it. So I actually spent about 7 years going and researching different designs and processes, and came with the CXC matrix, which I used at a number of companies, Fidelity, Microsoft, and a couple others. And it was the same process that customers go through every time to buy something.
Okay.
And that was the big insight, is that yes, it can be repeated, it could be replicated, and it just becomes a foundation. It's a way of crafting or shaping what you're already doing, putting it into a context, categorizing different activities, and it's reusable over and over again, and it gives you a benchmark. So you can use it from company to company, seeing how you're doing. You can even use it from industry to industry, because a customer, when it's tied back to the customer, customers kind of do the same thing over and over again.
That's true. And like you said, every company was asking the same question: how do we become more customer focused? So obviously this has been something that companies have realized for years that they should be doing. Why aren't more companies doing it correctly? And in your estimation, what percentage of companies are properly engaging customers?
What percentage? Well, I guess,
ballpark.
Well, when you look at it, companies already think that they're doing it. I mean, do you have a customer problem? Or are customers important? Nobody's going to say customers aren't important.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, I looked at, used Google and went and looked up annual reports for companies to see how many times customer-centric and customer-focused was used. And it was hundreds and hundreds of mentions. Knowing those companies and going back and then looking at some of their other information, that was the only place where it stood out. There were not metrics, financial metrics, or others tied back to customers. So that was a big finding. In terms of how many companies are doing it, not very many. We're still in a very traditional, we're structured very traditionally as companies. That you have marketing and advertising and sales on one side, then you have operations and fulfillment, which is a whole other group with a whole other set of metrics. Then you have customer service on another level. And that traditional foundation is worked in the old world. It doesn't work as well now, because customers go and pick and choose what they want.
Yeah.
And customers, they transcend all those different departments, so those traditional boundaries, traditional metrics are kind of broken.
It's the more knowledgeable customer.
Right, and customers will pick what they want, so they could actually buy your product. I mean, there's a big phenomenon. I could buy your product, but choose not to have that product serviced by you. So all those individual pieces, I may buy something on Amazon that was popped up, right? Have it delivered by another company, have it serviced by a third company.
Sure.
Okay, so in order for companies internally to even understand that, that was really where I really started to use the matrix was, the customer bought the product, but they may have bought it from any of 8 different outlets. The customer then shows up at the call center. Okay, how do I go backwards and replicate what the customer did? So that was another big need for the matrices to go and say, what are all the rules, what are all the conditions that people go through? Because customers are all over the map.
Yeah.
And that was the thing. Nobody had mapped it out. How did this customer show up here? And I've been at companies where they didn't know how the customer got their product. Okay, which doesn't seem like a big deal, but if I'm trying to fix something, I may want to know.
And you touch on that concept of a map, and it seems like you think it's possible to have a map that companies can use to engage customers properly that is usable across all industries, or at least many industries. Can you explain a bit about why that is possible, even though so many different industries have their niches and have their unique aspects?
Oh, sure. No, absolutely. Well, there's a couple things. I looked at redefining it, or it's taking all of the information on all the data that a company already has. Okay, so there's no surprises there, but it's looking at all that information from a customer perspective. And I've identified there's 16 stages that a customer goes through to get any product.
Yeah.
But there's a corresponding set of systems that go to each one of those stages. Okay, like I said, customer support, care and support, and repair are towards the end. 14 and 15. But those individual stages can be provided by anybody. So looking at from a customer's perspective, a customer starts with in the 16 stages an awareness of that they have a need. I need milk, I need a blender, I need computers, I need I need to get from here to here. So there's that level, and then they go and they gather information on who are all the providers. And I can do that across the internet, I can go person to person, I can go and ask my friends. Those are all different channels which are addressed in the matrix as well. And as they collect information, then they start to decide and select which attributes, what aspects do they want. And again, it doesn't matter what I'm buying, I'm going through that same decision process. So even in a business-to-business environment where it's a big decision, we're buying corporate buildings or we're acquiring a company or something like that, there may be many people that are involved in many departments and stakeholders in making that decision. But that body is still going through the awareness that we have a need. We want to move from here to here, gathering information, going through the selection, going through all those different steps. And that's what I did. I just took all that information. I said the customer knows more than the companies do right now. And customers survive without companies, but companies don't survive without customers. So pay attention to customers. They're probably telling you a lot more about your business than you've ever realized.
Of course, and you also talk about the concept that customers also need a map to engage companies. Can you talk a bit about that map and why a customer would possibly need that? It seems like it's almost intuition to know how to engage a company. Why do they need a map?
Well, but you hit a big point there. I mean, I was going through my session before about taking my smartphone and just saying a company's name. I said, I need to go find Office Depot.
Yeah.
And it was very simple. Phone knew where I was, right? So they had that kind of intelligence using Google Maps. It had the ads beneath that, and it just, boom, gave me directions on how to get there, information on what was there, et cetera. But you want to be, Google or Amazon in that scenario, right? You want to be the one that has the customer map because the customer is looking for a solution. If I go back to awareness of it, I have a need, and then I'm going to go and collect information. This is why Google is as big as they are. They filled that information need. Okay? They don't build product, they don't sell product, they didn't send all that stuff out. They're huge because they're filling that awareness piece. Now they're saying they're going into the knowledge group because they're starting to look at those other pieces. But I want to be the company that owns or the source that customers go to when they have a need because everything behind that is secondary. So Amazon is in that same case, same boat. They want to be the source that you go to find information because once they control that, they can then go and syndicate or arbitrage. They have all this in the background. Okay, we have a customer that has this need. This is where they're located. These are the other elements that we know about them. Okay, who wants to go and offer a product to them? And I can charge you for that. As a company, I've lost complete control of that.
Yeah.
So you want to be the provider of that map. You want to make it easy and obvious for customers to come and do business with you.
So it seems that leads to why having a map leads you to ask the question, how can things be better? How can I do this better? Is that a good
No, it's all about innovation.
Yeah.
I mean, there's when you break out this matrix across those 16 stages, across every channel, which is every customer interaction. That's really the way this is mapped. There's a cost to conducting each one of those interactions. There's a cost to the company to answer the phone, to put a product in the store, to ship something from point A to point B. Those are obvious. What's not typically measured is the cost to the customer. How long did it take me to find you? What's going to be, how much time have I invested on your website? All that information is really a very strong indicator of what's my likelihood to buy and how much I'm going to pay and how much I've invested in you. Companies ignore that right now for the most part. They have no idea of what to do on that. The innovation comes from looking at the whole matrix, looking at how customers go through there, and how do I position myself to be the best match to what the customer is trying to accomplish. So I'm taking customer value, my highest value customers to my lowest value customers. Yeah. But I'm able to then go and match my corporate strategy, my business objectives into each interaction. So I can identify how should I respond to the person that's on the phone. Do I have another 5 years of business with them? Okay, and maybe $30,000 or $40,000 in profit coming from them? Or do I only have $1 to make from them and it's going to cost me $20 to answer the phone and maybe they're going to be best served in self-support or online chat or something like that? That's a business decision.
Yeah.
Without the map, I don't know that I didn't know that was a decision I had to make.
So how does the map change moving forward with the advent of ever-changing social media, mobile engagement, new forms of customers to interact with companies? How does that map change, or does it not? Is it able to kind of encompass these changes?
The map built it in. Okay, so I was looking. I worked for DoubleClick for a while, and I worked for Slidetail. So, and I'm a big technology guy. So I look at all the things that Google can do and all the pricing, and I look at all that stuff all the time, and I put it in this context of, how if I'm a company, how do I better engage with my customers at each of those individual points, and using the map, I can actually go and identify where my business is going to go or where it should go. Without having the map, I don't have control of that.
Yeah.
And I don't have a view. So I'm constantly surprised. But what the map will also show you is what you can afford to stop doing, okay, and where you should spend your time going and innovating. Because I need to go and identify how do I differentiate myself in each one of these interactions. If I can automate that as much as possible, because with new channels coming up like social and what I refer to as community, all these other influencers that have always been out there, but are now becoming digitized.
Okay.
Okay. I also have to look at all of the third parties and all of the influencers. How do I get information to them? To an extent, I need to be able to treat them as customers and look at what is their role in my customer's experience. If my customers always go to a particular website or USA Today or the New York Times or something like that, I want to make sure that I have a direct pipeline into those influencers and they have the best information, not just to buy my product or to pitch my product, but if there's a industry recall like in pharma or Sony's problem with a data breach.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So who do I go and contact? How do I get in touch with those customers as quickly as possible? But who are the third parties that are going to either trash me or help out people and help actually solve the customer's problem? Because again, that problem is actually an awareness issue, right? So how do I get in touch with the people that have that problem, which is my customer list? Do I just go and send them an email directly? Will that email have as much clout as something that's going to show up on the 5 o'clock news and say that, oh, by the way, all you Sony customers, your data is now available somewhere because it's all been taken from us and we didn't see it happening?
Yeah.
So what am I looking for then? It goes again, awareness, information, and identification. My awareness, oh, I have a problem I didn't know I had. A problem I didn't know I had. Okay.
Yeah.
My 9-year-old went and somehow used my credit card, which I never knew. And now my information is exposed out there. Meanwhile, I got something that looked like it came from my bank. It turns out it didn't come from my bank. Where should all of that information, how to resolve this problem, be held? I can't just email that to somebody. Let's make sure it goes out to all the news providers and all the right media spots and help it from a customer's perspective.
Yeah.
So it just changes totally the way that you manage your business, but it also tells you what are the most efficient means. Okay. And if there's top value customers in that scenario, if there's other people that were reselling Sony X, if it's people that were selling Sony cameras, all those things affect the brand. So I hate to slam on Sony, but they said it's a $3.5 billion problem.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're looking for a solution, you needed a map.
Yeah.
And I've solved those types of problems using the CXC metrics.
Yeah, well, it's an interesting concept, and I feel like we need a infographic to kind of map it out, but I guess people can just check out the book.
That'd be great. No.
Thanks for joining me today, Michael.
Thank you.
And to our viewers out there, you can check out more of our videos at customermanagementiq.com. Once again, I'm your host, and thanks for watching.